What's up, guys? So, obviously you probably know that the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus TV show had its first teaser trailer come out just a couple days ago, and we're gonna talk about that bad boy. First off, I'm outside in the woods right now behind my house. You may hear some cars going down the road, but hey, I just needed to get outside, and that's what this channel is all about, getting outside while also talking about some nerdy stuff. So as we walk, take a walk with me, and we'll talk about this Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. Now, first off, obviously, they got the original guys back from the prequels. Now, I'm from the age group to where when those prequel movies came out, I was like right at that peak age to where, like, you know, those are my Star Wars movies. As controversial as they are, I love them, and I still do. Do I think there's some cheesy lines here and there about sand and some other weird stuff like that? Sure, there's no denying that. But those movies are really top-notch, especially when you compare them to a lot of movies that come out these days. Kind of rough, and we can't really talk a lot of crap about them anymore because everybody is freaking loving this Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, and for good reason. Ewan McGregor, man. First off, you gotta talk about him. He's the star of the show. I mean, when I think of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't think of anyone else who could possibly play the role. And he's like the perfect age to continue on from the story now. He's roughly probably about the same as what the character Obi-Wan is in the story at this point. And honestly, he just looks really good with age. He's aged very nice, and he's looking like he's in for a rough time in this new Obi-Wan Kenobi series because the Inquisitors, made famous in the show Star Wars Rebels, are coming to hunt his ass, apparently. Now, if you haven't watched Star Wars The Rebels, it's an animated series. Now, there's a lot of people who might not have watched it because, obviously, we've all heard of the Clone Wars series, right? I'd say so. But Rebels, I didn't give it a chance at first because I kind of thought that it was a little kiddish. A little bit too child-friendly, just by looking at it, you know? Like, the characters just, they're animated a little bit more Frozen-like, you know? They just look more goofy. A little bit more like an 8-year-old would be like, that looks really cool. Whereas, like, Clone Wars was kind of an adult series, kind of. It was almost, like, teenager-friendly. That doesn't mean the show is bad, and it did introduce a lot of cool characters. So, obviously, the one guy that's getting a lot of controversial, who doesn't these days, right? That is the one Grand Inquisitor, with the guy with the white face and the little spinny lightsaber blade trying to do his best General Grievous impersonation. First off, you're not as cool as Grievous. He's a badass. You look kind of like a goofy mime. But hey, people are getting on to him that he doesn't look exactly like the character in the Clone Wars. Well, the character in Rebels, sorry. Well, the character in Rebels isn't real, so get over it. It's not that big a deal. But the rest of the Inquisitors, we see the guy with the weird, what is it, like watermelon style looking hat, like awkward ass outfit, but he's in it. He was in Rebels. And so all these guys, along with the new character, this chick right here, I guess they're looking for Obi-Wan, and you know, they're probably going to be the main negative force in this show. Unfortunately, I don't think Darth Vader will be chasing him all that much. He is going to be in the movie, or the show, series, movie thing, whatever it is. But they're obviously going to be saving him for, like, dramatic entrances, something kind of like what we've seen in Rogue One. He's going to pop up and do something awesome, and it's super cool because Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker, is also returning to be Darth Vader, and that's pretty cool, you know? Just like pretty much every Star Wars main character, the poor actor just has their whole career just kind of like blah. It just goes to crap after they play the role. I mean, obviously with Mark Hamill, you know, like we didn't hear about him for 20 years, and you know, he did some like voice acting stuff, but he really didn't pop back onto the scene until the last decade or so. And then of course we have Hayden Christensen, who is pretty much run out of Hollywood after, you know, everyone giving him a hard time for the dialogue he was given. I honestly think he played a perfect Anakin, because Anakin's supposed to be kind of like a not spoiled, that's the wrong word. He's kind of just supposed to be a brat. He's kind of like a prick, you know, like he never had a father. He never had dad tell him, hey, you're acting like an asshole. Don't do that. So, you know, Obi-Wan clearly tried to be the best fatherly figure he could, but I think, you know, a whole big war happening kind of took away from his ability to do that. and he quickly became more of like a brotherly friend figure, and probably wasn't there for Anakin as much as he could or should have been. And I guess that's going to play a big role in the story. Obi-Wan's going to be really reminiscing on, like, you know, how he messed up as a mentor, how he messed up as a friend, how he messed up as like a brother, a father, just, you know, someone close. He probably feels like he failed Anakin, and that's a bummer, because he didn't, because at the end of the day, Anakin was always a little cuckoo, always a little creaky. About this trip, so I said creaky. He was always just a little bit off, you know, so I think it's going to be cool to see how their relationship continues. Now, the teaser really didn't show too much. Kind of wish it would have showed a little bit more, you know, outside of the awesome, you know, Duel of Fates, like, you know, it got my nostalgia going, but like, realistically, it was a teaser. It didn't show anything really exciting. You watch that trailer 2 or 3 times, you're like, okay, it's not as exciting as I thought it was, but what it is solid. There's nothing you can talk crap about unless you want to go talk crap about Mr. Clownface over there. So it's really looking promising. I think Star Wars is like, they already had their controversial kind of nonsense time period with the, what do you call them, the nuquels? The movies, the recent movies with Daisy Ridley and Rey. Speaking of which, she's getting kind of the same treatment as that I just talked about with Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen. She's just kind of getting a lot of flack she doesn't deserve. It's not her fault, but you know, they went through their controversial stage, and now they are really nailing it with these TV shows on Disney Plus. It just feels like all the people who just wanted to go and make their Star Wars have kind of like gone away, and then the good people behind it right now, you know, Favreau, Dave Filoni, they really kind of get it. Like they're actual fans, and they want to do it for the fans, not for their own egos, which is something a lot of Hollywood people need to get over. Your ego isn't as important as the millions and millions and millions of fans that are the only reason why you have your job right now. So who am I to say, but you know, people need to understand that, you know, fandoms matter. And that's why the recent Star Wars stuff has been mostly well received. Obviously, these days, there's going to be people that bitch about everything, and there's no stopping that, I don't think, sadly. But as far as all the big fandoms are right now, Star Wars is in a good place. They're not creating, it's not canon. It is canon. All this stuff matters. And so, you know, 50 years from now, we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian story. We're going to be talking about the Boba Fett story. We're going to be talking about this story in Obi-Wan Kenobi. And that's freaking cool. That means all this stuff matters. You know, we can go and tell our kids, our grandkids, you're like, hey, the lore in this show freaking matters. Whereas like these new TV shows, like the new Halo show, and unfortunately the Rings of Power, they're going around here just like changing stuff for the sake of change. And they're saying, well, it's not part of the actual canon. This is our own individual story. It doesn't really connect to the lore that's been created the last many decades. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Exactly. Your show probably won't matter in 10, 20 years because it's not a part of the actual legacy. And that's something that Star Wars has always been really good at. Yeah, they went through that period where they deleted, like, the stuff when Disney got it. But, like, that was weird business stuff. It had nothing to do with, like, creative decisions. So, as far as the Obi-Wan trailer goes, I just wanted to talk about it as I took my little walk, my little run around my backyard, get my exercise in, go outside, everyone. It's so freaking beautiful. We don't have to be nerds who sit in our fancy purple lighted YouTube rooms talking about this stuff. You'll probably see me in my room talking about stuff from time to time because the weather's not always pretty like it is. But like, we don't have to sit in the room to talk about nerd stuff. I hope more of you people will get outside and enjoy the nature while we talk about Star Wars and all this made-up fantasy nonsense stuff. And if you are someone who likes nerd shit and you like walking around outside and you're an outdoorsman like myself, consider subscribing to the channel because that's what this thing is going to be all about. We're going to incorporate the nature of things with the nerd of things. So anyway, guys, I'm starting to get out of breath because I'm actually walking, unlike all these other lazy YouTubers that just sit on their chair all day. And yeah, I'm sounding like an idiot. So thank you for taking your time with me today, for spending your time with me today. Can't talk anymore, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.